Morning, Mr. Artist in Recovery / LP. 2:15 in the morning, West Coast time. It is Friday the 6th of September 2024. The Weaver John C. of Roseman, California is barely alive and barely awake right now. Asking myself, why am I up? And then I happen to look at your particular video and like, oh, talk our language, why don't you? And you were. For a few seconds, and afterwards. It happens every single time I see things like for the shootings. And the original one that We Are Monsters, yeah, should have been the original one. We are monsters, but we should have been labeled as Gothic monsters. Dude, did you ever read the old classics or came across the old classics that probably read in high school or junior high or just pulled it off a bookshelf and said, this is fascinating? And then realized they were talking about you and me. We've been in program long enough that we see both sides. We see both sides. I'm not talking about just our damages and everyone else. We're talking about our personalities on both sides. We're talking about Frankenstein. We're talking about Gothic monsters that represent humanity. People are trying to write about it as horror stories. Mary Shelley was married to a gentleman of distinction back in England. And she had a creative imagination. She liked to tell horror stories, and one of them was dealing with a mad scientist creating a monster. But then again, if I read the story again thoroughly enough, I had an argument with a English teacher my second time around through college because I'd read Mary Shelley with the class or Zoomed, and we were talking about this one. I think I was talking to one of my favorite English teachers over there. We called her Professor J or Professor T, one of those two. It was a wife. She was an avid English writer. Actually, English teacher, instructor. But literature was her life, and the husbands too. Both nice people. Well, and there was also another guy I was reading, taking a class with too, for American English, American literature, actually. And in some of the materials that they were showing us, one of them was dealing with Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. But I remember there was another English teacher. I think that was the one that was popping in my head more often on this one because this lady really had to make me argue on this one, and I still flunked her out of the class because she didn't like my answers. Maybe she was right. Mary Shelley wrote up a person about a guy creating a monster, but then again, who is the monster? The one making a monster or the creation itself? That's the hardest part to get to understand, isn't it? We talk about our own creations running, going against people left and right. We're talking about our own um, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde routine. We're so nice sometimes, but then again, when we get higher or drunk or something like that, we get into the Gothic character, into our darker self, our darker soul. You're going to be asking me, why the hell does this mean about all the shooters? Well, you're not seeing it then. You're not seeing it. We already had been disturbed a long time ago. We are monsters. We are Frankensteins and our own Gothic creations, if you want to look at it that way, and I do. Yeah, the kid had to have been screwed up somewhere in the head. He had to have something in his in his lifestyle something came across. You don't become a monster unless already you've been turning into one way or another and didn't even realize it. You don't become a shooter unless you've already had notions like, what would a weapon of mass destruction feel like when it's used against a live human being? Wouldn't that be interesting? And we get those thoughts from time to time. It's not that we are monsters, but we get these thoughts from time to time because there is potential we could be monsters. And when we're doing 4-step, we're trying to analyze ourselves of how we're figuring out why we are. We discover that we already had a psychological flaw inside of us that we didn't even realize. Some people would consider it as genetic, or other people would consider it learned behavior. But there's always something of a trigger in there that would set things off that you would have to go deep into pain and deep in agony and stuff. What was this kid's problem? And what was the guy's problem in the first place? They saw nothing wrong with using guns. Guns are cool. Guns are okay. Guns are guns. They're just tools. Doesn't matter if they're weapons of mass destruction. It doesn't matter if you're going to be carrying a battle axe to school at this point over here and say, oh, I'm just using this back scratcher. I'm just using this thing as a back scratcher because I got a back that needs itching. Right, you're bringing a battle axe to a public place at this point over here for learning, and you're going to be making an excuse that this is just a back scratcher. Meanwhile, everyone else is freaking out and having conniption fits because somebody else is bringing a huge ass battle axe or something like that. It's the equivalency of bringing in a damn weapon. An AR-15 modified? Was the damn thing modified or was it a semi? Doesn't matter. It's still a weapon on a campus. You're not supposed to do that. You are not supposed to do that unless you already had a commitment of really going out in the deep end. And the kid did. And now we're in a situation. But we're dealing with other people who are doing the same situations too. See, this is an ongoing situation. This has been ongoing for a long while. Longer than I've been born, I guess. I just hadn't noticed it as much. Back in, I remember, the late 70s, early 80s, we had something of office people going ape. They're going insane. Where there was an incident where with a U.S. postal worker who had enough, and he did a falling down routine. Falling Down being a movie with Michael King. Oh, good Lord, I'm going to be losing it. Michael Douglas. A guy who can't stand reality, all things happening around him. And he wants things back the way they were, but he can't have it. So he goes nuts. Some days I can understand that particular portion over there, but I cannot change the time. I cannot change a lot of things at this point over here. I am powerless over people, places, things, and events. So I have to cool it on that. Except for the things that usually irritate the living crap out of me, and I gotta make a statement about it. But making a statement with artillery, bringing it into a campus, that's the smartest damn thing to do. Who's the monster in this situation? The guy bringing the weaponry. Why? Because he's got some burp his ass at this point over here going on in his head, and he's got this conniption going on. You know, it's always a guy. It's never a woman coming in there. I think the last time I heard somebody about that, and I'm really out of news cycles on this one here. Wasn't Patty Hearst a long time ago? Got brainwashed. She got kidnapped, brainwashed. Because of the Simonese Revolution or something like that, back in the 70s. And they got her They got her unbrainwashed, if we want to say it that way, where she's still living a life. She did time, but she's still living a life, trying to make a career for herself. Hardly anybody remembers what she's done. But they know the name Patty Hearst. And that's ringing out ugly bells out there. Much like the shooting in Connecticut. And then the after effects. And everybody else going ape on that one. But who's the monster? We all are monsters. You were a monster. I was a monster. My brother was a monster. We're all monsters. We're monsters of our own creation, our own making, and sometimes we could be the most terrifying thing around. And other times, we're still trying to clean up that image, trying not to be the most terrifying thing around, but we have to be remembered. We are, or we can be, monsters. We can be our own Frankenstein creations. I tried to make this point. Actually, it was one particular point I was making in that English class I first took. It was critical thinking in literature. And it was the first English class I took in my second bout going through college system. I was trying to get what she was talking about. She wanted us to do this final exam thing, or this final essay. And she wanted it based off of Mary Shelley's work, but based off of a play, which was a reinterpretation of Mary Shelley. I said, why not just go to the original? Why not just go to the original? Because this damn thing reminds me too much of it. And I remember having an argument with the professor concerning about how things were looked at. The different interpretations, they were going back to the original. Flunked out on that one. But I know there was something bugging me in my other classes that I took for literature, both English and American, that I argued with a professor concerning about my viewpoints about this Freudian situation here. How it related to 12-step programming. We're looking at ourselves in the fourth step, looking at all these things that we have done to other people. We were taught in the book about us being a tornado in people's lives. Well, there's got to be a cause for the tornado effect, isn't it? A meteorologist could try telling you how the tornado would start up. There was always some kind of weather conditionings. There was always something happening in the air to create a weather phenomena. So are we like a weather phenomena? Or are we still our own nightmare in making? In the book, parts, just like what we see in the movies and in comedy shows and everything else, are put together, and if you look at the movies, they use electricity, but in the book, it was chemicals. They reanimated life, and the life took on its own form. But it didn't know good from evil, except what was being taught. It was a newborn. A newborn doesn't know that it's doing bad unless you teach it good and bad, unless you teach it its own values. So looking at the father at this point who got arrested because, according to the laws of the state, the parents are responsible. Well, the father was responsible because it was probably his gun. And if the kid took the gun, it was for a reason. And if the father knew about it, he didn't have it locked up. He didn't have it locked up enough. He trusted the kid too much on that one. That's why he's busted on this. But something had to have been eating on this kid. I mean, I keep trying to psychoanalyze these kids. I'm not a therapist, you know that. I'm not an expert in anything. I'm an observer. But some things I kept learning along the side that things don't add up. We know things don't add up when you're in the program. You always had to do the fourth step and the fifth step and the sixth step trying to figure things out and making amends. But in the process, we're still discovering what was it all about. What was causing this? What was causing that? What was causing this? What? I had to tear things apart. So in essence, we are monsters. I look in the mirror sometimes and I'm an ugly looking bastard. I look in the camera, I'm still an ugly looking bastard. I'm not a handsome asshole. But my own behaviors, my own choices will make me a monster if I really feel the need or really feel the pain and desire to cause and inflict pain on people. But then again, what made me into a monster? We have the bully syndrome out there, you know that. You get bullied too much, you want to hurt the other bullies back. I put a plural on that one. It's usually more than one. And we have this revenge thing going on. So what was causing this kid to flip out? Was he a first or second year? Was it 14 or 15? And usually graduation's about, what, 17, 18? A freshman coming in with an attitude. Was he a freshman? I didn't hear that information out there. I gotta research this. I gotta see whether or not if he was bullied. It's the only thing I know about. Either he was bullied at home, and if that was the case, how come the kid didn't take it out on the family? But if it wasn't bullied at home, then something happened out of school. Maybe he knew these people, maybe he didn't, but something was giving him a lot of pain on this one. I'm not trying to give this guy any. I'm trying to find the reasons on this one. I'm trying to find the reasons why he went nuts. Not trying to help the kid. I'm just trying to understand why he went nuts. Understanding these kind of behaviors kind of relates to us. We're self-destructed, egotistical, narcissistic megalomaniacs out there who want everything for ourselves. When we were in that kind of mode, when we were in that kind of field, when we were in that kind of situation. Yeah, just trying to make sure the damn bug's not going to rain on my ass again. We were trying to make sure to ourselves that we were taking care of ourselves and nobody else for that one. Was it the case in this one for the kid? What was his major malfunction that made him want to hurt adults and kids? I can understand about how intense pain can be. Both physical, spiritual, and emotional. I do a lot of my logs. I do a lot of self-reflection. Hell, I'm chewing up on a hell of a lot of drives. I just got this past week. 250 gigs. I'm waiting for my smaller one to use up. And then I can use up that one. Then I'll be at the end of the month and I'll be ordering another one. Because I do a lot of videos and audio logs to examine myself. Trying to make sure that I am not turning into a monster. And yeah, I called you, Doc, because when you mentioned about the stuff and I was hearing about what you were talking about, I was thinking, yeah, you are Dr. Frankenstein. And the creature. Hello, Doc. Or Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You'll deny it. I'm saying, no, don't deny it. Understand it, okay? Psychology 101. We got it. We have it. We can be the most ugliest bastards out there. I'm not just talking about the physicality. I'm not talking about the mortal skin. I'm talking about what's going on in here and in here. We are that totally screwed up, that much in pain, and that much under a value that tells other people we don't care about other people, we care about ourselves. Then yeah, we could be the worst thing ever. We can be goofy, or we can be totally mean. Ever seen a mean drunk? I have. Not fun. You ever see a stoned out guy who's dangerous as hell? Yeah, I have. Not fun. under chemical influence or alcohol or both. They're deadly combinations. And an emotional has a way of scaring the hell out of people. So yeah, we are that. So what was this kid's problem? I know he's done terribles. I'm not disputing that. His actions were terrible. They took out lives, and people's lives are going to be changed by that. There's no way making amends on this one. Father's trying to figure out what the hell he did. He did because he did what he was accustomed and didn't realize it. He'll probably still hold truth to a conviction that guns are necessary. Or other people are probably held on to that one. And they think guns are necessary. Yet what do we got? Guns killing people left and right. What happens when we have these shootings? Doesn't matter where, when, how. We still have the shootings. We go through the debates left and right that the guns are evil, the guns are necessary. Well, they're evil and necessary. They're an evil necessity. We want protection. We want actually maximum protection. Yeah, get yourself. Well, I'm not going to promote it, but they utilize the Second Amendment. They'll utilize the Second Amendment and hide behind it as justification. Was this a Second Amendment justification? Who threatened the kid? Was the kid threatened? Something had to have driven this poor dumb bastard. Like every other people I've seen going out for shootings left and right. What was their major malfunction? The thrill of murder? Of losing people's lives? '80s, '90s, people that were going for assaults left and right, and there were congressional hearings concerning about how video games were the most violent things on the earth. Well, shit. These guys don't know they're acting a hot rock. Wasn't. And yeah, naturally, you could do a lot of crazy, weird-ass things on video games. Does it make you feel justified doing it in reality? Might give you a little bit of a temptation there, but you can find it in one particular area over here, and that's about it. Okay, that's what I do. If I'm going to get that angry and frustrated about the damn thing, I have to have an outlet for it, but I'm not going to put it. I'm not going to be doing a physical outlet out there. I got to put it into something else that I can actually do and analyze the psychological, analyze the damn thing, go with the flow, but try not to be that kind of a person. Realizing what kind of a person I am, where I came from, where my upbringing was. Because if I'm going to be in that kind of a state where I'm just constantly pickled by this, juiced up in this one, I'm soaking in the brine. I'm a piece of withered cucumber with spicing, ready to come out of a jar. And you may not like the flavor or taste or crunch on this one. I'm not either. I'm probably either a gherkin or a class or one of those other dill pickles out there. It's scary. It's terrifying. I used to like pickles a long time ago. Classens. Crunchy, big monsters. I liked the taste of them. I liked the way the mouth was dealing with the spicy in it. Dill pickle, sweet ones, gherkins. I was trying to think about the gherkins. Not so much, but you probably use gherkins in different recipes anyway for that one. People would like the withered thing coming out of the damn brine. But you have to look at it at a different perspective. You want to look at the brine. You're soaking in something you're marinating in. So what was this kid marinating in? What was the conditioning? What was the learned traits? What was the attitude? What was the behavior being trained into the kid? So yeah, they would have to look at the father and see where the hell he was, not physically, but where his mind was. Maybe they could do a mental thing on him. He'll probably not like it, but where did he get his values from? And what his values caused what the kid did. And if that's the case, he is the Frankenstein creator who created his own monster, which in turn would create other monsters. The bully effect continues. Do I feel sorry for the kid? It's like we're going to be victimizing the victimized by bullying the living crap out of them, saying it's their fault that we take a baseball bat and have fun with them. Well, we're not taking them out to the bleacher seats either. We're taking them out to a place where the baseball bat's going to be used in a different form and fashion. I might as well use the battle axe to be better, more brutalistic. If I'm going to be that way, I'm going to be going outside the house here and use this battle axe to have fun with people's face. Because I don't like their face, I don't like them either. I'm just going to take this battle axe and I'm going to have some fun with them, yeah. I'm going to be crazy little cool on these people, yeah. I don't like that person, I don't like that person, I don't like that person. And who the hell do you think you're staring at me? I'm just a guy carrying a battle axe. You gotta give me something about this one, don't you? Every time I keep doing these damn things, it scares the crap out of me. They should. These characterizations being done about it, you think it's not scary enough? Holy crap. But we all got it. We try to be less hypocritical. We try to be more of something that we have learned values on how to be a better person, a better human being. If you were raised in a cave and didn't understand the values of everybody else, that would have been one behavior that either would have saved your life or created a monster. We go to our religious upbringings, we go to the meeting halls, we try to better ourselves one way by understanding and analyzing what the hell's going on with us, and then try not to have a conniption fit over the damn shit. But what happens when we start having a fight in the meeting halls? Who's at fault? Something had to been going crazy in a person that he had to say something that totally got everybody else looking at him thinking, all right, what's this major malfunction? Maybe we got to take him to get him calmed down. And he starts swinging on people left and right. I'm just using these things as an example, by the way. You understand that? Yeah, you got yellow lighted, and I don't know what the hell's going on with YouTube at this point. Morality shit going on. You can't see anything about violence. You can't see anything about that. Shit, you put it on damn YouTube all the fucking time, you assholes. Fact checkers act there and morality AI police. Well, you can't say these things. Oh, bite me, asshole. Well, you're getting money off of these things. I'm personally not. I don't get the monetary shit. I'm not playing with those kind of rules. That's why I do it out of my own damn pocket. I'm not taking money out of people's pocket just so I can spew them off crap. Know that. No, 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 no. I'm not that way. I say what I say. I take responsibility, accountability, and transparency for it. I take responsibility. I take accountability. I am responsible. I am trying to be transparent. But I have to be accountable and responsible. So if I'm going to be creating monsters out of there, I know this doctor here has screwed things up left and right, and then I'm going to have to make amends about the damn thing, one way or another. It's like dealing with boomerangs, dude. You've seen those boomerangs? Australian outback, New Zealand. How the Aborigines would hunt with those things. They are aerodynamically formed in the way they are to fly at the target, hit the target, and come right back. If they're lucky enough. That's us sometimes. We have to be ready for the comeback on this one. If we're not catching it right, catches us upside the head on that one. Metaphorically speaking and sometimes physically speaking. That being said, dude, that's my own 30-minute ranting and raving like a lunatic.